Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another segment of Dons with Bonds. I'm extremely excited to get this portion started. I feel extremely motivated. I feel extremely invigorated, energetic, and alive. I have a new purpose. I have new goals. I have, new standards. What I'm bringing to the table now, I'm really excited about. I plan to be way more deliberate with every action and every reaction that I have on this platform and this channel. Everything I have is supercharged with whatever I have behind it, whether it's be a small or large amount of joule energy. When I say joule, I don't mean the joule, J-U-U-L. I mean Joule, or yes, which is a unit of energy. But anyway, getting off topic already. I wanted to present something specific. I know this is podcast, so a lot of the display would be, or the people taking it in would be audio. However, I do have a visual portion, which I do provide a visual aspect to this in some way. So I wanted to present something that was near and dear to my heart, something that I've went through. I feel like previously on this podcast, I've been saying I'm going to be more positive, and I'm not going to take the negative. And in reading the book that I'm reading, The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, that's kind of detrimental to any type of progress that I was trying to make, especially with what I was talking about. So I thought it would be fair, or more fair, to bring something like a great grave mistake that I've made in the past to the table, something that I've went through in the past, something that I've done before, that I learned from. That wasn't a loss, it was more of a big ass lesson. Kind of got spanked silly from it, to say that it might have shifted a whole outcome or a whole cadence of events moving forward. Who knows? But if you're gonna sit here and be mad at the person that made the decisions that you in the past that are categorized as a loss or a lesson to you, then you're never going to grow. Because I always believe that that the person that you're mad at the end of the day did what was right and did what they wanted to do. You can't ever get mad at that past mistake, because there was a reason you made that one. And hindsight's always 20/20, so you can always look at something and be like, oh, fuck that, or why did he do that, or why did they do that? But you never know, man. There's a lot of different people going through a lot of different shit, and you never know why the decisions that were made, and I'm not excusing everything. Obviously, there's a line drawn, but I'd say the topic that I'm talking about is pretty non-severe in the grand scheme. So, I'm just happy to present it and just show, what I learned from it. So without further ado, I call this story the Big Blue Monster. This is a circa 2019 story. So I played football in college. I walked on. I ended up earning the scholarship after so many years, and I grew up, idolizing the game of football, idolizing the NCAA college football scheme and the aspect, just from a larger view. I was just so excited about it. As a kid, I marveled at it. I looked at it in every aspect as an admiration. I loved the guys that did it. I loved the guys that reported it. I loved every part of it. I loved watching, Big Ten football on Saturday morning, with, those guys just playing on a box TV, sitting crisscross applesauce in the living room. I loved that. I loved that energy. I loved the vibe that was going on. It was terrific. And, I always dreamed about one day creating my own, making that my own reality. I played Pop Warner. I would even watch those games after Pop Warner games. And, you always marvel at the fact, how do those guys get there, man? It's college football, man. That's just crazy. It's like the Olympics, or it's like those guys are Spartans out there. How do they get to that point? And then the NFL, don't get me started. That's like literal gladiator work as a kid when you look at that. But then as you grow and develop, it becomes more and more attainable, and you start setting real concrete goals, and you eventually get to those goals, and you eventually, grab those things and, make them physical. Growing up, I always saw, like, obviously with the obsession of college football, you can't sit here and act like, Boise State, or, cool Eastern Washington, like all those schools with those cool turfs. You're like, man, if I could just play college football one day on one of those turf fields, I would be okay. Like, that would be a goal. That's a goal. And like I said about making these dreams tangible, Being the football player I was, I had the opportunity to end up playing at Boise State one day. I got the opportunity as a young boy one day, or old time watching football on a Saturday morning with his family after a Pop Warner game, going all the way, becoming an 18, 20-year-old man, packing his bags, walking onto a big time football program, and eventually, earning that scholarship and getting to travel with the team to go play, the said team that you idolized as a kid. I mean, it's crazy how the world hands you these blessings. And within these blessings, there's all types of things tied in them. Lessons learned, people, love, highs, lows. There's all this stuff, wrapped into one in a blessing when you get it. And little did I know that this blessing that I wished for my entire life, since a little kid of playing football as a little kid, idolizing these gladiators, playing college and professional football, seeing these expensive uniforms and how the games were reported on, and the stadiums that they played in, and idolizing the stadiums and wanting to be in the stadiums. Seeing a blue turf stadium, going crazy for it as a kid. I was a creative, rambunctious kid. Seeing colored turf got my chili hot. And I couldn't be more happy to maybe one day play on it. And look at me, I did. And I turn around and now I'm 25 years old and I have a story about it. It's nuts. Is it a good one? It's a good story. It's a lesson. And that's what we're going to learn. So, circa 2019, I'm a redshirt sophomore. We go into, and I played a decent amount. This year I actually was looking up. I was looking up to play a little bit. I was looking up to, grab some extra playing time. Guy ahead of me was injured. Big, tough receiver from Texas. The guy was an incredible athlete, an absolute stud. He's a software designer now. He's absolutely stellar athlete. And he was injured. And I had the opportunity, step in there, be a guy, next guy up mentality. I performed in the first game relatively, and then I expected to buy myself some real estate in this next game, but this was a big thing, I thought I was going to get into this game. That this is a whole conglomerate of my entire life, boiling and fizzling up to this point, and I couldn't have been more excited to step into. Obviously, I insinuated the Big Blue Monster. We ended up, Marshall is where I went to college. We ended up playing Boise State my redshirt sophomore year. So this accumulation of all these dreams ended up, fizzling to one point and actually coming true to give me the opportunity of a lifetime to play in the stadium that I once marveled at as a little boy in Pop Warner pants. The Big Blue Monster, circa 2019. I was a redshirt sophomore going into this stadium. I was a travel player. It's my first full year on scholarship. I couldn't be more happy as a young boy. All my friends were happy for me. We're going into this stadium ready to rock the socks off these motherfuckers. And they were ranked this year too, I believe. And they were a good ball program. They were a good team. But, lucky for us, we were led into this stadium by none other than the man himself. Now, this is all public information. I'm not shantying anybody. And before I even start to begin to get in depth about this story, I have no malice or no grievances towards anybody. This is all, I have so much gratitude towards the people involved in this process, even on the other side, because you're supposed to love your enemies as well. And I do in this. And I don't even see anybody as an enemy in this story, going through this. But 2019, circa 2019, redshirt sophomore, going into Boise, Idaho, with a squad of young Marshall football players, and we're looking to square up to these Boise Broncos on a Friday night. We arrived Thursday morning, and the guy if you're watching the visual aspect, the guy on the top right of the screen, that's Mr. Doc Holliday. This is all public knowledge. He was our head coach at the time, the guy who was gracious enough to grant me a scholarship as well. I couldn't be more gracious and thankful for this individual. But this is our leader leading us into the Thunderdome this weekend. And as you can see, Boise is an extremely hostile environment, extremely loud, extremely passionate fans, and obviously, again, blue turf. So, we stumble into this field Thursday. We hop off the flight as a team, and usually before these, you go into the stadium just as a team. Then in this picture here, it shows that there's a bunch of media and everybody there. There's nobody ever there. Maybe some guys wrapping up the cords for the cameras because this was an ESPN game. And guys just mumbling around, talking, visualizing the plays that you're going to make, because that's what you do when you get to these states and these stadiums. You're supposed to walk around, tumble around the field, and capitalize yourself in the moment, see the moment in front of you, grasp everything by the nuts, and just take it and run. That's the idea of these walkthroughs, and when you do these things, you do it as a team, and you obviously have access to the stadium. And we all were there walking on the blue turf, and it was incredible. We touched down in Boise. We get in the buses. We get to the stadium. The whole team's bugging. It's blue turf bugging. We're blue turf bugging. We're all bugging out. We're fiending. We're scratching our necks for this turf. There's linemen snagging strands, putting them in dip tins. There's trainers putting them in their pockets. There's people trying to cut up turf. Me and my roommate, I think we're pretty humble individuals. We stumbled upon the far corner of the stadium. We selected our strands of turf to take home with us because we were real excited for it. And now, mind you, the whole team's still there. We usually do these walk-arounds. They're not even walk-throughs. They're walk-arounds. Do these walk-arounds for about 10, 15 minutes. And so we grab these strands of turf, and we start making our way over to leave. And if you know the stadium or the field of Boise well enough, they're in the Midwestern Conference, and they have a logo. It's an M and a W. And the M and a W on this field, the M was blue and the W was orange. And where these two letters met, they were different colors. One was a blue, the M was blue, and obviously orange W. And me and my friend had blue turf. But I said, it'd be cool to get some orange turf. He said, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. So I go to grab some orange turf, and I pull up at the edge of the W. And what do you know? The corner of that turf, because it was sewn in like a patch, came up a bit. And I'd say about a 2 by 2 inch corner of the square came up. Very, 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 very little damage was done in this aspect. Very little. I mean, when I lifted this up, it couldn't have been bigger than lifting up the tongue of a shoe. It must have just been like checking the size real quick, patting it down, 2 pats, get out of there. So I pulled it up, and I was like, oh, fuck, this is brand new turf. They installed that turf, ironically, a week before all of this happened. So I pat the turf down. I go, oh, shit, let's get out of here. Pop up, skedaddle out of there. So that was that. Everybody's got their strands of turf, some more than others. Me, I took a very humble amount. I took like 2 strands. I was a good, honest boy. Took my turf, got out of there. That's Deion Sanders doing a walkthrough, very similar. No media walkthrough. We got out of there. Next day was the game. We played the game. Next day was the day that we play Boise. Tough game. Real tough game. These guys were supercharged, super loaded, fully charged, and fully loaded this entire time. And we ended up taking a loss. That's his history. You can go check it yourself. Marshall versus Boise State 2019, we took that loss. Usually, preceding games, you travel home that night, and you get back to your designated school area that night, and the next day you have like a recovery lift with the team, and they separate the lift times for each side of the ball. They go offense, defense, and then non-travel. So you go like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So get back from Idaho that night, Friday night, wake up Saturday, and we have the lift. And I roll into the training room prior to the lift, probably around 11:30-ish, 11. And the whole team's in there. They're chilling. They're vibing. Coaches are in there. There's a picture of this guy slapping somebody in the face. It's usually what people do to warm up. Prior to a lift, everybody just goes slap boxing or, does whatever the gib or the gab is. And my coach is there, and he's one of the slap boxers performing in this event prior to the lift. And he sees me. He has a certain excitement to see me, and he goes in a certain kind of reserve. His energy changes immediately. So he goes from very energetic and positive and happy to oh shit, this is the guy that I needed to talk to, and not in a good way. So I go, hey coach, what's going on? Hey, what's the matter? And he goes, essentially, just kind of gives me this look, like, you all better get ready. And I'm confused. I go, what do you mean get ready? He goes, coach wants to talk to you. I go, me? Why me? What did I do? I didn't play a lick of ball yesterday. And I was a big special teams guy, so let me clarify. I was a big special teams guy in college, played a bunch of special teams, an innumerable amount of special teams snaps on whatever aspect of special teams you want to imagine. And I didn't play a lick of offense this game, which preceding or going into the game, I assumed with the situation that I described earlier that I was going to get a fair share of real estate in that area, which came to be nothing. So obviously that aspect with the you better get your ass ready, specifically me getting my ass ready, I was like, man, what's about to happen? So we get out of the training room, everybody's already in their lift gear, and we stumble out onto this indoor facility turf, and we get into our designated stretch lines, which, oh, here, there's me saying, oh shit, yeah, this is my face. Before getting into that stretch line, I was literally shitting my pants the entire time, had no clue. I just got on scholarship, and my coach is telling me to, brace myself. Basically, batten down the hatches. Shit's about to get rough. And I guess it kind of did, because this was my face, and we stumble into these stretch lines, and if you're looking at the visual aspect, this is kind of what the stretch line looked like in terms of organization. And to be completely honest, I believe that this was the exact stance that I was standing in, which is a Saigon squat, prior to my coach coming over to me. And this was probably what my face looked like. I was looking dead at him. And, if you know anything about the head coach at the time, Mr. John Doc Holliday, he was a person of no bullshit, and he was a pretty straight shooter. So this guy sees me, very similar face, very similar body stature, very similar hand gesture. None of the laughs and the vibes, though, within this picture. Very all negative and gloomy. We just lost a 7-point game to Boise State in Boise, Idaho, which we I'm assuming paid some decent money to get over there. And we spent about 3 days over there as a football team. So that's, and in his eyes, it might have been looked at as a waste of time, especially when he's pointing at me with some area of blame for something. So he comes over to me. I'm sitting in my Saigon squat, and he goes, "You selfish motherfucker." And I go, yeah, and no, I'm joking. I didn't say that. I was like, sir, I'm sorry. I'm shitting myself at this point. And, he's yelling. If you see this man's face upset and yelling, nothing good is going to come from that. Nothing good is going to come from that. This is a fucking CFB legend. I have been on a full scholarship provided by him for maybe less than 4 months. And this guy wants to put his fist 3 feet inside of my asshole because of what I did. And I get it. I totally fucking get it. Like, maybe at the time I didn't understand fully. I still think I did understand, because I knew why he was mad, nor did I think I was right for doing anything. Did I think I was wrong? Maybe, maybe not. I didn't even get to what I explained that I did yet. But he's yelling at me because, so apparently, the walkthrough that we did, when everybody was grabbing turf, out of the 55 individuals that traveled and grabbed turf, I was the one to get caught or had gotten caught and recorded on camera messing and fumbling with this said turf. And yeah, that's just my luck. So ironically, there was an ESPN camera in one of the end zones that had a perfectly zoomed in angle of me pulling up the corner of the Midwestern logo, orange and blue turf, a few 2x2 square inches off the ground. Now, this turf was recently installed, and I believe it was a multi-million-dollar installation for this turf. If you know anything about AstroTurf or anything about sports turf in general, it is a pretty penny, especially when it is a legendary college football turf that is idolized across the entire 50 states of the United States of America. So when you pull up a small corner of it, the athletic directors of that school aren't going to be the most happy. So did they know about it prior to the game that we played? Yes. Did I not play any offense because of that? Yes. So did a very likewise similar looking person on defense get tortured, eye gouged, and booty rim jobbed, finger molested the entire game because of me and them assuming that he was me, and they had a predestined plan to really kick our ass that day because we fucked with their blue turf, and they fucked with my friend the entire game thinking he was me? Did that happen as well? Yeah. So it's probably one of the craziest psychologies of being that guy or the bad guy of the day without knowing. I went the entire Friday of that game assuming I was just in good spacing, in a good mind frame, in a good mindset. So when I stumbled into the training room that Saturday and I realized what my coach had told me, I was scrambling, and I was finally getting the answers I once wanted a few days prior to why was I not playing. And not that I was some star fucking player that got a crazy amount of snaps every game. I mean, I'm a white walk-on from Pennsylvania at a D1 school that recruited 75% Florida athletes that were mostly 3- and 4-star guys. So I'm not sitting here saying I'm tapping my foot waiting for them to clock me in. It was because everyone and their mom knew that I was on HD 4K camera fucking with Boise State's turf. Everybody knew. And everybody knew that Boise State knew. And that the athletic directors knew. And that the football team knew. And that they had a team meeting about me saying how disrespectful I was to their turf. Everybody knew. But me. This was a 2-day event where I had no clue that I was the most wanted man in Boise, Idaho. And this was the man that was yelling at me for it. Now, mind you, does this seem like a super small offense? Sure. And it was. But the viscosity of the situation and what had happened, there needs to be a lesson made. And I was that guy to deliver that message to the team on what to do to a Power 5 football program day in and day out, and how you go into their stadium and respect their stadium. And then I had the ability to display to them what not to do. Because obviously that day I didn't know what to do, but I knew what not to do. And this is what I got for it. So this guy yells at me, rips me a new asshole essentially, and goes, Monday morning meeting, which Monday morning meetings are the recap to that weekend's game. And they usually are at 6 a.m. in the team meeting room. Everybody's there, the entire team. So 110 people plus, including staff and administration. He goes, team meeting Monday morning. You're apologizing to the team. And if you don't, you're off this fucking team. Walked away. Now fuck me. Right? This is my reality now. This is how. You're probably wondering how and why, and was it that much turf, or what did you do? Da 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 da. I did what I did. I explained what I did, and there's video evidence of what I did. I haven't attained that video evidence, so someday I will, and I'll grab it and I'll get it to everybody. But that's what happened. So we finished that lift. Obviously, I'm in the slum dumps the entire weekend because I think I'm about to get guillotined in front of this team on Monday morning. I think they're about to Alice in Chains me in front of the entire team because of what I did to Boise State's athletic facility and their turf. But he also tells me that, prior to this meeting, I'm going to have to write a letter to their facilities and operations people as well. So that's just a whole nother, ball of wax that I wasn't expecting. And, at the time, this is who I was. If you're looking at the visual aspect again, this is who I was. I was just a young, spry, rubbery boned boy. Innocent, naive. And I did something out of emotion. I'd made a decision out of emotion, and because I wanted to do it for me, because I thought it was just about me. I thought, if I get turf, this is a me thing. I'm going to get turf. I'm going to be happy, and it's going to be awesome. That's what you get. This is what happens. You get crying Tobey Maguire face on your rubbery bone body because you think that you're bigger than the fucking team or the message. You're not. You're not bigger than the bigger thing. Blue turf. It's a big thing. And you're probably wondering, why was it made such a big thing? Why did the loss get shadowed on you? Did you even take that much turf? No, and I'm not sitting here, the loss was shadowed on me. And I'm not sitting here, it wasn't that much turf. Because it doesn't matter. It's what I said. It's the principle at hand. You make yourself bigger than the team, shit like this happens. Now, it's a very small and minute and straightforward message from something that was big and drawn out like this, and it's okay, because that's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes. You have to go through a bunch of shit to learn something just really quite frame A and stupid and logical. And no, I didn't take that much turf. This is the only time the visual aspect of this podcast is actually a necessity, because I have a picture displayed of the amount of turf that I acquired from this football stadium. And obviously everything is time-stamped here. You can see that this is a Gasparilla Bowl patch. It's the Marshall helmet on the left and the UCF Florida Knights helmet on the right. So we played that year in 2019 for the bowl game, the Gasparilla Bad Boy Mowers Bowl. But right above it, pinned, is the strand of turf that I have from Boise State. So that is the first, final, and only piece of turf that I've acquired from Boise State. It is the entire reason that I was put into the situation, and to why I even got to this point, to why I'm even sitting here telling you this story, is because of that piece of turf. That piece of turf. This is the man. This is the face that I saw Monday morning. This is the face I saw Monday morning, looking at me, 5:45 a.m., telling me, you're going to go up there after I'm done talking, and you're going to tell this football team that you're sorry, and you're going to apologize to everybody, or you're kicked off this fucking football team. I'm shitting my pants. I'm sitting front row. I don't know when to go up there. I don't know how. He's not going to just bring me up, or he's not going to introduce me. It's not a fucking Emmy award-winning nomination. It's not a victory speech. This is following a 7-point loss to a team that we should have beat, and now some fuck-ass kid who stole turf has to apologize because the AD reached out to the head coach and complained about me. Now, I know everybody talks about main character or main character, main story, whatever, storyline energy, main character energy. I didn't want any of that. I don't think I want main character energy, because all the shit that comes with main character energy is going in front of a team, 100 people at that, and now you see this face prior to the team meeting. And visual aspect again on the podcast, this is what a team meeting room would look like. Filled with heads, 6 a.m. Nobody wants to be there. I don't want to be there. And now I really don't want to be there because this old man has told me, old man, old coach, old guy, told me that I have to go up there and apologize, and he's irate with me. And now I'm not even sure if I apologize that it's going to grant me the wishes or the reluctance to stay on the team. I just know that this is the next step that I have to take. So I go up there in front of this team. I go, I'm damn near welling up. I'm welling up tears at this point. And I hold what I can back, and I go, guys, Friday, I took some turf from Boise State, and it was inappropriate of me to do that. And I can promise you guys as your teammate that it will not happen again. And the second that the word again came out of my mouth, amongst a silent room, holding back laughs, seeing me well up tears, apologize to them on 6 a.m. on a Monday morning with my coach, fist clenched, staring at me. As soon as the word again came out of my mouth, he goes, "You're fucking right, it won't happen again." At that moment, I thought I was dead. I thought I was going to get shot, arrowed, or just fucking, a trapdoor was going to fall under me like Emperor's New Groove or something. I thought I was going to be fucking just fucking wiped off the face of the map. And when he said that, he said it about 6 inches from my face. And if you know anybody, if you know football coaches, they don't like to brush their teeth in the morning. They don't brush their teeth in the morning. So there was some heinous energy coming into my nostrils. And then my friend who was with me, he was on the other side of the room in the back corner of the meeting room. And as he was yelling at my face, saying it wouldn't happen again, the head coach yelling at my face, he immediately darted and turned to my friend and points at him and goes, "And you're the fucker that let it happen. If I were you, I would have chokeslammed his ass." This is football, guys. This is football. And the thing is, everybody's looking at it like, oh, you can't talk to people like that. You can't lead like that. Lessons aren't learned like that. Yes, they fucking are. Because this was 2019. It's 2024. And this imprinted on me. This is a lesson that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Whether it's a big lesson or a little lesson, it's not fucking going anywhere, pal. I'll tell you that much. And they did their fucking job. These coaches did their job. They fucking held us accountable. It was the little shit. But that's why we were good. He brought up that incident, and he made a big deal about it for a fucking big reason. For a good reason. I'm not sitting here sad about it. I'm excited that I got to be a prop of excellence for others. Not because I was displaying excellence, because I destroyed the envisionment of excellence. But whatever. It happened. I got the apology off my chest, weight off my shoulders. I remained on the team, thankfully. But to say that, things were the same after, I would be sitting here lying to you. This was me welling up tears in front of that team meeting room. Tobey Maguire once again on the visual aspect. I was abhorrent. I was sad. I was scared. I was shaken. But, I had friends behind me. In this case, they were actually in front of me. They were all in front of me, watching my great downfall. And it's okay. If anybody is going to be there for your downfall, I'd rather be my friends. I'd rather be the people that care about me and I care about them. I'd rather see them at my worst. I'd rather have them see me at my worst. That way, they can see the progress and celebrate me when I'm at my best, because I would do the same for them, and I would do the same for those guys still. Every one of those motherfuckers in that room, I'd do that for to this day. So yeah, that was the consensus of the meeting, and that was how I felt he looked at me from there on out. That scolding finger and fiery eyes. I always had felt some sort of intimidation from him, but I have the most upright and utmost respect for that man, because he held me to a standard, and at the end of the day, the standard is the standard. So he kept me to my promise, and right after that 6 a.m. meeting, sent me up to our athletic director's office, and he told me to write that apology letter to their athletic director. And I wish I had a picture of what I had wrote, because I had wrote so much things on that one letter. It was like an 8x11 sheet, and I had filled it to the very tippy top of apologies and respect and gratitude towards the program and everything. I never got a letter back, obviously, but I was writing this in front of my athletic director, and that the athletic director that has been there in Marshall at the time was there 30 plus years. He was there 30 plus years. He's been there forever, and he's sitting there with me, and we're writing this letter together, and he's giggling and kind of laughing, which made me feel okay, because at least somebody was lighthearted about the situation. I tried to remain lighthearted about the situation, but that was tough. It was difficult, because this was my career that was at stake, and but who cares, you know? So he's laughing. I'm just trying to figure out maybe why he's laughing, or why he feels so kind of lighthearted about the subject. And that's because I guess other coaches were lighthearted about the subject as well, which made me feel a little better. But the real reason was because he had the actual video that he received Thursday after the walkthrough, which they knew about Friday. Everybody and their mom knew about Friday but me. He shows me the video, and it could have been a more zoomed up, clear aspect of me just yanking on that turf, putting it back, laughing, and skip to my loo and away. So, to say I didn't feel like a dumb asshole at that point in time, I'd be lying to you again. I fucked up. Coach, I fucked up. Take full responsibility for me fucking up. You know? But I wrote that letter, put my heart into it, sent it off, and we continued today. I felt like that. But you fuck up. Prior to that game, I felt like White Goodman from Dodgeball. I felt unstoppable. I was on a cloud. I felt like I was on top of the world. I could wrestle a bull by the horns. Visual aspect again, it's right there for you. In reality, this is what I was. I was post-credit White Goodman. I was tub of ice cream, Kentucky Fried Chicken, White Goodman. And you need those humbling, gratifying moments that knock you down a peg when you think your shit doesn't stink. And everybody has these moments, and it's okay. And I'm not sitting here saying that I was being like an ignorant, naive, rambunctious, ambitious, whatever person at the time, though. But you have to know that there's decisions that you make, and there's repercussions for all of them. And no matter how big or how small, you got to face the noise, dude. And I was blasted with noise this entire time, and I had to face it, and I was okay with it, because I had so many smiling faces with me along the way that showed me that this is just a needle in the haystack, and it is not the end all be all. People help people. People need people. You need people. It takes a village. And it's and the reason I love this so much is that all of this, God, the ring? Are you serious? the reason I love all of this is because such a small strand of turf, literally 3 strands of turf, created this humbug, this molehill of just, there was like a ripple effect of stuff that happened from one little turf. And it also coincides because everybody, like, I had so many people that were teammates of mine and friends and administrators and coaches and trainers that had taken turf too, and had taken a lot more than the kid, I can tell you that. But I got caught. Nobody else got caught. I did. I was the one that got caught. My dad always said I was good at getting caught, and apparently he was fucking right. I got caught, and it's okay. It's okay to be the fat white Goodman once in a while. I got caught. I got caught up, coach. I got caught up. And it's all right. But this is why it's not all right. Because obviously there's a score at the top. Tough game. 14-7 Boise, that day. We were 1-1. They were 2-0. They ended up getting ranked that year. They were playing outstanding. But this was only the second meeting. Second meeting, mind you, between these two teams. First one was in 1994 on December 10th. And it wasn't just any average game that these two teams met on. No, it was the Division I AA semifinal, which Boise had won by 4 points. So to say that there was no malice or no greed or, no rivalry amongst these two guys, you'd be lying. There's a lot of weight to this game. And then you talk about everything about me coming up as a young guy, loving the game of football, idolizing this moment, getting to the moment, literally getting to the field, to what I thought was probably the most blissful moment of, I can't say it wasn't the most blissful, but it was, dude, it's up there. Like, I'm still talking about it. It's fucking cool shit. It's blue turf. I was there. And I get there, game day happens, and then it just becomes a Black Mirror episode after that. So, the football part of me, am I upset about this? Kind of sucks. Take it with a grain of salt. However, in life, we don't take losses, man. We take lessons. And this is a fat ass lesson right here. And to add to this, we were actually supposed to play these guys the following year in 2020, but that game ended up getting canceled. We were actually a really good ball program that year. We were actually ranked 15, I believe, in 2020 for a short amount of time. But no, I think the next game was canceled because of COVID, but at the time, the inward-facing evaluation of myself was, completely surrounded by the fact that they just didn't honor the team because of my disrespect. So they canceled the game on us anyway, because they were probably the most remote, socially distant team out there, and they probably could have played this game. But what do you know? What are you going to say? What are you going to do? They made their decision. And it is what it is. I'm sitting here at the end of the day, with this history here. I'm lucky, man. I'm so lucky to get to even have walked into this situation and to have experienced it through and through, and to get to sit here and then reflect on it and be able to laugh and do all that, and make a joke about, me going through this. It's fucking awesome. I have so much gratitude to every aspect of this story, everybody who was involved with it, because it sucked. But if you know anything about me, I embrace the suck and I love a challenge, and I feel as if that this was placed in my life and in my hands for such a good reason, and that it happened to me for a reason. Not that anybody else could have dealt with it or whatever, not that, but I at the time for the team, I felt that it was a really good comic relief to have someone to at least, I guess, point the finger at and be like, fuck, like that guy got fucked. Because I got fucking fucked, man. I got fucked pretty good. But I will never change anything about it. I would never go back and not take that turf. I would probably take more. Would I have pulled the orange stuff? Probably not. But it is what it is, man. You live and you learn, and you go through different situations in life, and they end up happening for reasons. And I ended up staying at Marshall for probably about 4 to 5 years after that, and my last ever game that I played with them was a bowl game in Conway, South Carolina. And if you know anything about that city, the local school there is Coastal Carolina, and so we played Coastal Carolina for the. No, we played at Coastal Carolina's stadium for the final game of my career as a collegiate athlete. We ended up playing UConn in that bowl game. It was around December 18th, 2022. And if you know anything about that stadium, you guessed it, they have blue turf as well. So if you're catching my drift here, to talk about the poetic justice of the career that I had as an individual, to get to finalize my football career on a turquoise blue turf, something that is just a little bit bleached out from the Boise blue turf, probably because all of the tears that I shed over that situation washed out the true blue and made it a creamy ocean blue. I finished my career there, and there's a really, really good video of my friend scoring a touchdown. My really good friend, my roommate, the guy that should have choke slammed me initially, scoring a touchdown that game, and me just throwing a good block in front of him for it, and we ended up winning that game. And I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. It's great. Look at that. Look at those goosebumps. That's awesome. But it couldn't have been a more poetic justice finish for the career, to have a situation as dire and as crazy as the Boise State, story to happen to both of us, and then, to come back around our redshirt senior years, and to get that final win, in which we did win that bowl game on that blue turf, with that touchdown being scored by him, and me lead blocking. It couldn't have been any sweeter. So, I say all that to say that everything happens for a reason again, and to if you're going through something extremely, extremely difficult, embrace that suck, because I guarantee you there's going to be something at the end of that tunnel that's going to make it so worth it. It's so valuable to you. It's so worthwhile. It's going to make it so full circle. It's going to connect everything. You'll understand it at that point, and you'll be reflective, and you'll understand everything looking back. And now, is everything perfect and kosher? No, man, no. Obviously, you want to be better, do better, get better, be better. But we can't all the time, man. We just can't. And you got to just take it for what it is, and you got to take it for what you had and what you have done with it, the worth that it is. And I think it couldn't be any better, because that's the last slide. That's the last slide. And I'm so excited that I banged that out for you guys, and that I got to get that off my chest. And maybe it was not as neat as I wanted it to be, or as even, just exciting. But I thought it was something valuable. It had some lessons tied within there. It's, something that somebody could listen to. It's chronological. It's a story. It's not as, jibber jabbery, and, I'm glad I got to, talk about this. I'm glad how it turned out. I'm not upset about anything that happened. Everybody that I mentioned, there's a reason I didn't mention just random names to start string people along because there's no reason to associate that story with anybody but me because it didn't affect anybody really but me and my friend. But it's all, it's like what I got. Like I can't sit here and talk all this shit about, the world and my angle on stuff because it really doesn't fucking matter. Like my opinion doesn't really matter. Like all I have is the stuff that I've experienced and done, and I can only like attribute and contribute stuff from and to that to people in order to understand it. Because I can sit here all day and say, yeah, I get that, but I've never done it or went through it. How the fuck I can get it all day, but I don't understand it. I can't coincide with it. I can't experience it for you. I can't experience, you know, being Jewish for somebody or being black for somebody. I'm not. But if you want to talk about somebody who got fist fucked and for stealing blue turf from Boise, I can talk to you about that all day. So I'm just gonna start getting back to myself, start doing the shit that I like, and the shit that I know because it's all that I know. And yeah, so I appreciate the people who have tapped in, and thank you much.